There needs to be something pretty compelling here, but everything I've seen about this is all obfuscation, deception, muddying the water, not making it clear.
I simply laid out a sequence of events that happened one after another.
Oh my god, that is so dishonest, bro!
That is why I never thought this whole thing was actually about Apollo Legend.
Wait. Is he saying that he didn't realise it was about Apollo Legend now?
I made a ton of mistakes, and I am a great example of what not to do when you're being sued.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, there's recently been some controversy with Karl Jobst. Karl Jobst was going to court with Billy Mitchel because Billy Mitchel had sued him for defamation. Many people believed that it was because of Karl Jobst claiming that Billy Mitchel had cheated at Donkey Kong. But when the results came out, it turned out that it wasn't anything to do with cheating in Donkey Kong, and the reason that Billy Mitchel had sued Karl was because Karl had claimed that Billy Mitchel had taken Apollo Legends, filed a lawsuit against Apollo Legends, which was true. But the part that wasn't correct was Karl claimed that as a result of that, there was a financial settlement that was agreed that ruined Apollo Legends, which then led to Apollo Legends topping himself. Okay? So that was the claim that was defamatory. Now, I've made it clear before, I don't really like the idea of like all this lawsuit stuff. I think just, you know, dealing with it through responses and talking and stuff like that is a better way to do it. I think it can be a chilling effect. There's issues with it. But on like a kind of fundamental level, I do agree with the findings of the lawsuit, because it does seem like Karl did say this thing about Billy Mitchel that wasn't true. And as per the rules of Australia, that was determined to be defamatory. Now, off the back of that, there's also been this kind of further discourse about whether or not Karl misled his audience. Now, I'll admit, I've not watched all the content about this, but just from seeing the discussion about it online and watching a few videos about it, the conclusion that I've come to is, yes, he did mislead his audience, and I think that there's a very strong argument that it was intentional. Because there's moments where he talks about it in a way that circumvents and avoids mentioning and talking about the fact it's about Apollo Legends, but he does go to great lengths to talk repeatedly about the cheating aspects of Billy Mitchel. And so that is why I think that there was this perception that it was about the cheating. Now, the other part of the misleading is this lawsuit aspect. So what is true is that Billy Mitchel did make various legal threats in regards to things that Karl had said. And one of these legal threats was in regards to a further thing that had happened, and there was some sort of like threat of a lawsuit that was occurring. So Billy Mitchel fundraised off the back of a threat of a lawsuit, which didn't actually get filed, and then Billy Mitchel took the funding that he got on GoFundMe for the threatened lawsuit, and he basically added it to the legal fund for the initial lawsuit that was filed, which was the defamatory claim in regards to Apollo Legends. And looking at it, I'm like, okay, that does seem dishonest to me. It is to me. It's a scam, because you're not actually being open and upfront about what is going to happen with that money. And really, you should check and ask and see if people still want to, you know, support the other lawsuit, because the terms of which the lawsuit are filed under are different. Because the second threatened lawsuit was in regards to the cheating allegations. And the initial lawsuit was obviously about the Apollo Legends stuff. But we'll start off here, because honestly, I thought this was actually quite a good thumbnail. And I thought this was a sign that he was going to be taking the L on this, to be honest. But apparently, that maybe is not the case. But this was the thumbnail that he went with. So he had a picture of his face with, you know, an image that says loser, essentially. So let's see. Let's have a look.
On the 1st of April, I lost my lawsuit against Billy Mitchel, and the judge has ordered me to pay $350,000 in damages, plus interest. It goes without saying this is not the result I wanted or expected, and it's honestly quite shocking. Personally, I disagree with the judge's decision, and so I'm currently exploring any potential avenues for appeal. An appeal may stay the judgment on application until the appeal has concluded, which might result in several outcomes. The appeal could be dismissed and I would be ordered to pay the original judgment. The judgment amount may be lowered if the court finds it excessive, or the judgment may be overturned completely if the court finds errors of law have been made. This entire process can take up to a year or longer, so as it stands, this remains an ongoing battle, and it's not a battle I hope to give up easily. This has been very upsetting, but
I mean, look, I'm no Australian legal expert, but I feel like it is naivety of the highest order to think that the legal aspect is going to be changed. Because as far as I grasp and understand it, as Australian law is written, the decision aligns with what the Australian law is. And there's even like a reasonable aspect to this where what he said about Apollo Legend and Billy Mitchell was totally wrong. Like he was just, he did state something which was factually inaccurate. I mean, whether or not it really damaged Billy Mitchell, obviously I think is a topic you could discuss and the level of damages. But I do think that what he said was untrue and that like that's bad in and of itself, right? Like, you should make sure that what you say is correct. Obviously, you know, I love a bit of spice and something like that, don't get me wrong. But saying something which is untrue, like there was a legal settlement which led to someone topping themselves when there was no legal settlement at all, I mean, that is just shoddy, totally shoddy, sloppy shit, right? Do I think there should be significant legal consequences? No. But I do think that you have failed fundamentally as a creator to go so hard and so strong on something when you are just completely in the wrong, you know? Oh, hey, Comment Cop. Or is that Nicholas? Is that Nicholas? Karl Jobst swindled 200k on GoFundMe under false pretenses. Yeah, I think I agree with that take. I do think it was under false pretenses. It was under false pretenses. It was about a lawsuit that hadn't been filed, that was threatened maybe to have been filed at some point in the future, and it was for a different defamatory aspect, and it was wrapped up in another defamation lawsuit, which was in relation to a different claim, and he never made that clear. He never made that clear at any point. So, you know, Karl has got to eat a pretty big L on this one, as far as I'm concerned. But let's see what he's got to say for himself.
Truthfully, losing a court case isn't the end of the world, even if it is to Billy Mitchell. It sucks, it's not what I wanted, I know it's not what many others wanted, but life will go on. Unfortunately for me, something else has happened that has been far more upsetting, and far more difficult to deal with. Many people are upset and angry with me as they believe I have misled them and lied to them about the nature of the lawsuit. Some even go as far as saying that I intentionally lied to the public to scam people out of their money through my GoFundMe. Mostly, people are upset because they believed the trial was about me accusing Billy Mitchell of cheating, but it turned out to be something else. The backlash has been pretty brutal, and it's not something I'd like to happen again, so I think it's very important for me to be as honest and transparent as I possibly can. I'm going to go through the entire timeline as it happened so that you have as much information as possible. At certain points, I'm going to have to combat things that people have said about me that aren't true.
Why is this happening now after the fact? Why did you not do that before? You can do it in a way that doesn't expose you to further legal risk. It's just a bit concerning that it's like, oh, now we're doing the timeline. Now everything's said and done, and now you're getting the criticism, you know? Pause, Andy. Well, yes. I am going to pause and give my comments as it happens.
But that doesn't mean I didn't also make mistakes and that there also aren't valid criticisms. I hope to address criticisms that I think are wrong and those that I think are right. And I apologize about the generic Minecraft footage, but I just don't do well on camera. So this will have to do. On the 26th of May 2021, I released a video titled "The Biggest Con-Men in Video Game History Strike Again." In that video, I discussed two new lawsuits that have been filed by Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchell.
He thought people, this is a spoiler, he thought, because he didn't think there was an issue, obviously. Okay, but then, okay. I think the issue that you've got with this, okay, The issue that you've got with this, okay, is he didn't think there was a problem, but then he thought he was going to win. So it's like, if he'd have won, I don't think people would have cared this much about it. And I think that the fact that he's been a bit deceptive at times is, linked to him thinking he's going to win, and then it's not a problem. And it's only the fact that he's lost. Now it all gets exposed, and now everyone is upset about it. If he'd have won, people wouldn't have thought twice about it or dug into it. They'd have gone, oh, he won. Yeah, Billy Mitchell's a fucking loser, blah, blah, blah. So I think, it's like, oh, well, he expected to win. Yeah, and I think that's why he acted the way that he did, and he wasn't clear about it. And that's bad. He should have been clear at every stage what was going on. And it's all very well and good, oh, I'm going to do a timeline now. Well, that's the problem. You never did a timeline. You never really explained it. And in fact, I would argue you took steps to muddy the water. Like, I can already see that people are convinced by whatever Karl has said in this video. Okay? But I'm like, there needs to be something pretty compelling here. He'd need to be able to show me some sort of video footage of him making it clear for me to be like, okay, fair enough, he did make it clear. It's just I didn't see that video, or people should have paid more attention to that. But everything I've seen about this is all obfuscation, deception, muddying the water, not making it clear.
At the end of the video, I outlined all of the various lawsuits Billy Mitchel had filed against others. And when I came around to Billy's lawsuit against the YouTuber Apollo Legend, I said these words. He also sued YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 million. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell. He was forced to remove all of his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt, which required him to find extra work. But with his ongoing health issues, this was all too much of a burden, and he ultimately took his own life. Not that Billy Mitchel would ever care though. In fact, when Billy Mitchel thought Apollo died earlier, he expressed joy at the thought. The lawsuit against Apollo was just as frivolous as the rest, and Apollo definitely would have won in court, but again, he was extremely ill and couldn't handle the ongoing stress. This was inaccurate because the settlement terms did not involve Apollo Legend paying Billy any money. Even though this claim did turn out to be false, I believed it to be true at the time. I had been personally told there was a cash settlement, which...
Okay, you believed it to be true, but then, and I'm not sure how Australian law works, but there's obviously reasonable aspects within even American defamation law if you have a reckless disregard for the truth. It feels like a cope to be like, well, I believed it to be true. You believed it to be true because of your shoddy journalistic practices. And people corrected you, and you still didn't fucking change course, you know? So, I'll hear him out. I'm hearing it out. I feel like this is a cope and a sort of, downplaying of one's actions. Rather than just saying, I fucked up. I believe something that wasn't true, and it's because I had a shoddy practice. That should be the fucking standard here. Not, I believed it to be true, though.
That's wonderful.
But let's hear him out.
How do I make money off depressed people?
Thank you for the $2. Like, appreciate it.
Of Apollo Legend paying Billy any money. Even though this claim did turn out to be false, I believed it to be true at the time. I had been personally told there was a cash settlement, which numerous others said they were told as well, and this was also stated by multiple Reddit users, with one of them even claiming to have spoken with Apollo directly. Obviously, a Reddit post isn't usually very credible, but this person made these comments and was talking about the settlement before the settlement was even public, which implied to me that they knew what they were talking about and it was trustworthy. And the idea that...
There's no way, dude. He's still trying to convince himself that this was somehow legitimate. There's no way, dude. Reddit comments. Oh, they mentioned... Dude. You assumed it was legitimate because they were talking about a settlement before it had been announced. I can't, dude. I literally cannot with this guy. This is unbelievable. How hard is it to go, do you know what, guys? I was really fucking dumb and I believed some Reddit comments. What a fucking idiot I was. Massive L on my part. Now it's cost me dearly. I don't fucking believe it.
Apollo implied these direct was also personally told there was a turn out to be
Right, let me read
false.
some of this
I believed it
evidence.
to be true at the time. I had been personally...
Let's have a look at some of the very convincing evidence that led Karl to conclude it was acceptable to say there was a financial settlement that led to Apollo Death's suicide. Let's have a look. Apollo settled. He paid 50k to Billy, took all the videos down, and agreed to never accuse him of cheating or anything else. He basically bent the knee. Wonder if that's true. I'm suspecting it is, honestly. Is this the same guy who said Apollo settled earlier? Because remember, that was brought up already. Confidentially, a figure I'm being told was, and I quote, well over 10k, but that's being relayed secondhand. Hearsay. Literal hearsay. All right. One thing I've learnt doing this is that when it comes to hearsay, you immediately disregard that and do not state it in any... You certainly wouldn't use it a proper factual statement that you're making. And if you do state it, you make it explicitly clear. Okay, this is like hearsay, third hand, don't take it as read, take it with a massive pinch of salt, da-da-da-da-da. If you even mention it at all. This is terrible to go off the back of this. This is thrown out immediately. Maybe a thread to investigate if you really want to. But not in any you do not use this on any basis to make a factual statement. That is fucking deranged shit, dude.
personally told there was a cash settlement, which knew...
And who is Ursut's Katz? Who even is this person anyway? Anyway, further comments here. I don't really want to drag you back into things, but I remember you mentioning that the Apollo settlement did involve a cash settlement in addition to the video rights agreement. There was a cash settlement, but to my best knowledge, Billy took much less and really only wanted the videos. According to Junior, whom I do still speak with, Bill cut a very fair and human deal with Apollo. Enough so that Junior was pissed. Thank you for the Prime sub. Okay, so even here there's hints that all might not be as it seems. According to Junior, Bill cut a very fair and human deal with Apollo. Yes, the fair deal being no money changes hands, give me the rights to the video. And he didn't think, okay, it's like he got this idea in his head that there was some financial settlement and that was it, and everything backed that up. To me, looking at this would call into question whether there was any money that changed hands at all. And that's a line of inquiry that you need to then look into and investigate. Oh my god, dude. This is dire. This is absolutely dire. You put the lawsuit to one side. This is like poor facilitation of evidence and information. You know, this is the kind of stuff that... This is like, you know, daily commentary slop-esque mistakes made here. This is fucking insane. One big problem is that even to Team Billy lies to them. So they as a source can be troublesome. I will look tonight, but I know I was told that Billy took ownership of Apollo's videos and Apollo's parents pushed Apollo to settle this issue, and that a huge chunk of the earnings from video was collected. I will find it because I never erase anything from that group. I also have the contact of one of the guys that showed up to Florida with Apollo the night of the arcade game sales event. He, Billy, took it as a huge win. Huge win was told to me by Casey when they were closer. Okay, so this is, you know, around Carlos saying this. I don't know who Carlos is. You know, not really much to go on. Why is this person credible? Why are you thinking this person is credible? I don't know why you would look at this and think, yeah, I can trust what this person is saying. Particularly as there's not a shred of evidence being presented in any of these messages. But anyway, continuing on.
Numerous others said they were told as well, and this was also stated by multiple Reddit users.
Okay, stated by multiple Reddit users. Also, worth noting, this Ursat's Katz is the same person that he was messaging, I believe. The same username, at least. Apollo settled. He paid 50k to Billy, took all the videos down, and agreed to never accuse him of cheating or anything else negative. He basically bent the knee. This is gross and beyond disappointing. Let's just say there's no doubt that this settlement included a not insignificant amount of money paid to Billy, which he will in turn use to fuel his baseless lawsuits against others, like Twin Galaxies, Donkey Kong Forum, Karl Jobst, or anyone else he feels emboldened to sue now. Thanks for nothing, dude. Be careful though, Billy was not only able to pressure Apollo Legend in quitting YouTube, but also a sizable settlement. It's a dangerous game that Karl is now engaged in. He has to be very calculated. Okay.
Users, with one of them even claiming to...
Okay. And then we got this person here, Mio456. So who the fuck is Mio456? And on what basis are you trusting Mio456? They're stating something here. Why would you take what Mio456 is saying seriously? Like Reddit, this is like obviously sounds ridiculous. Okay? Reddit can be a good source of information in a similar way to Wikipedia being a good source of information. And the thing you want to be doing is looking for a comment and then seeing if they've got links to information that you can then look at yourself. But you should never take a Reddit comment as 100%. And you definitely shouldn't use it to back up factual claims or statements of fact that you make. This is the rate that I cannot believe that this video is showing the lengths of the utter like incompetence that Karl Jobst had in engaging with this topic. To be careful, the Billy is not only pressure Apollo Legend quitting YouTube, but also a sizable settlement. It's a dangerous game. Karl is now engaged in with a calculator. Oh, we just saw that one. I'm not super in the know on Apollo. I do know, though, that he had a lot more going on than just Billy Mitchel. From what he talked about it, he needed to work more to cover the settlement's payment schedule, as well as significant mental health toll the ordeal took on him. Dark Viper AU also launched a pretty strong attack, and many of his followers piled onto Apollo. Okay.
To have spoken with Apollo directly. Obviously, a Reddit post isn't usually very credible, but this person made these comments and was talking about the settlement before the settlement was even public, which implied to me that they knew what they were talking about and it was trustworthy. And to the idea that Apollo...
Why is someone mentioning a settlement before it's public making them credible? If there's a lawsuit going through... What, like, that like, of course, like, you could just take a pluck in the dark and you got a 50-50 chance that you're correct. Like, it's either going to settle or it's going to go to court or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
okay, that's
it's not particularly knowledgeable to say that.
People?
This is the defense's fans funded, schmucks. Yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. Indeed, okay. Anyway, let's hear him flesh it out a bit more. I don't want to, you know... pause at every turn, but Jesus, this is rough, man.
Person made these comments and was talking about the settlement before the settlement was even public, which implied to me that they knew what they were talking about and it was trustworthy. And to the idea that Apollo Legend may have paid Billy Mitchel a large sum of money was already out in the public. In a 2020 Easyscape video, he said this.
Like I mentioned at the start of the video, there's a good chance that Apollo had to pay Billy a large amount of money in the settlement, and rumors online suggest it to be anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 if this is what happened.
The important distinction, however, is that Easyscape did not claim this as a fact, but rather that it was just a good possibility. And I will need to point out that despite Easyscape thanking me in the description of this video, which people have then used to falsely claim that I went after Apollo Legend in some way, I had absolutely no input on anything he said regarding Apollo Legend, and I had no idea what he was going to say prior to the video's release. I had only simply provided him with some legal documents and information regarding the Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchel lawsuit.
Also, this got sent to me too. Has this been verified as real? So it's like, you know, he's going on about like Apollo Legend and how he didn't really, but then apparently he was considering doing, allegedly. I don't want to get fucking sued, okay? But apparently he was considering himself potentially doing a sort of video, a critical video of him. The person, I trust the person that sent that to me, but, you know, I never trust... These Discord messages, man, I'm always a bit like, oh, if something's too good to be true, it could well be the case. So, you know. But we will say that's not 100%. That's not 100%, okay? We're not 100% on that one. Anyway, what's all this?
And I had no idea what he was. Absolutely no input on anything he said regarding Apollo Legend, and I had no idea what he was going to say prior to the video's release. I had only simply provided him with some legal documents and information regarding the Chud Rogers and Billy Mitchell lawsuit.
Hey man, I've seen online that you've been getting flack for being credited in my video about Apollo. I'd only thanked you in the description since you provided me legal docs and info regarding the Todd Billy lawsuits that I'd included in the intro of that video. Your input was only included for that portion, and Ursat's cats had only fact-checked the video. Only I'm responsible for the things I say in a video, nobody else. Was this a big talking point? I didn't see this personally. But we're saying that like this idea that he was associated with this video was a big talking point, you know, and whatnot, and a big point of criticism. ChudLogic, keep in mind this dishonest freak knew that Apollo blamed Dark Viper and Easy Escape for it in his... Yeah. Well, just to be clear, there was something of a suicide note that was written by Apollo Legend. And in that note, he specifically mentioned Dark Viper as giving him... And this... I'm not sure who else. This guy as well, was it? But at the very least, Dark Viper. You know... Dark Viper was mentioned in this note as giving him the push that he needed. Oh, he did name Easy Escape too. Okay. And that is completely factual information. That is completely fact-verified information. Okay? But anyway. Only thanks you in the description to provide the legal docs and info regarding the Todd Billy lawsuits. I'm unsure if you were even planning on addressing this criticism, but feel free to include this in your response if you'd like. I was considering making a public comment, but honestly, unless someone calls me out in a way that forces me to respond, I'm done with anything Billy Mitchell or Apollo Legend related. Sorry to hear about the verdict. I eagerly await your response. Okay, I mean, if this genuinely has been a topic of discussion, fair enough, respond to this, but I thought the main issue was the idea that he'd misled his kind of audience. But anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. I'm sure there was some criticism. I'm sure this is worthy of some attention.
And Easy Escape proactively reached out to me and allowed me to post his statement confirming this was the case. With all of the corroborating evidence I had, I believed at that time that Apollo Legend did pay Billy Mitchell money in the settlement. And this was not some...
What corroborating evidence are you on? There was none. What evidence? There was no evidence. There was like hearsay. There was like very flimsy evidence maybe, but there was no fucking evidence at all. What about looking at the legal documents? What about reaching out? What about communicating with someone in the know? What about any of those things? I don't know what it's like to talk to Billy Mitchell. But is Billy Mitchell someone you can talk to about it? I don't know. Maybe you don't want to do that. But I don't know, man. Just seems very short-sighted to still think of it as evidence when it's just people saying shit on the internet, essentially.
Something that I merely fabricated or constructed myself. In Apollo Legend's goodbye video, which I won't replay here out of respect, he confirmed that he had health issues and that he had unpaid debts which he did not want to pass on to his estate. And he asked people to donate to his GoFundMe because of this. As a fellow YouTuber, I also know how much money Apollo was making on his Billy videos, which was money that he would also stop making due to having to remove these videos from his channel. And of course, you don't need to be sued to realize that being sued is an extremely stressful thing. And especially now after being sued myself, I can only say that you cannot imagine the stress this puts on you until it happens. Apollo himself even admitted this in a Discord message, and I can...
Okay. Apollo? You there? I saw a video from Dwayne Richard. Don't go redacting yourself now. I hear that you're depressed, and I don't know if it's the lawsuit that has got you stressed out like that, but if it is, stop worrying about it. I'm dealing with it for you. The waiting part is the most stressful part of it all, but as I said, you're not the target, and I'll get Billy's stubborn ass to move forward with this agreement. Hopefully this will make you feel better. Thanks, I appreciate it. The lawsuit has definitely raised my stress levels, but I have a lot else going on. Thank you for your help and concern.
Can only assume that the other things he's referring to included his health issues. To be clear though, I never said Billy caused Apollo's suicide, nor have I ever believed that. No one is responsible for Apollo's decision other than Apollo. If you read my words carefully, I simply laid out a sequence of events that happened one after another.
Oh my god, that is so dishonest, bro! That is
Okay, that's
so
wonderful.
dishonest.
How do I make money off depressed people?
All I said was, there was a financial settlement, and then after the financial settlement, the guy topped himself. I was just laying out a series of events. That is very disappointing to hear such explicit cope like that. No, it's very clear and evident, especially considering there were specific comments that backed up the idea that were talking badly about Billy Mitchell. Dude, isn't there even evidence of him engaging positively and liking comments on YouTube of people, criticizing Billy Mitchell for this? Where did I see that? Has anyone got any examples of this? I'm sure I saw it somewhere. If anyone's got it, put it in my Discord. This is terrible. That's like just a total misrepresentation bullshit thing.
I said there was a lawsuit, Apollo settled, he was in debt, though I was incorrect about the cause of the debt, he needed extra work, and he had ongoing health issues. Then
No. The suggestion, very clearly from your words, is that Billy Mitchell would unreasonably put a burden on him by pursuing some sort of financial settlement. That is what the implication of all the words you said were. Oh my god, dude. This is awful. What is he doing? Why is he doing this?
said this was all too much of a burden and he ultimately took his own life. I deliberately used words like and but to connect these events. I didn't use words like because or as a result of. I was also very careful to mention Apollo's pre-existing health issues as a major factor. When I said this was all too much, I was clearly referring to multiple things together. The debt, the extra work, and his health issues, all simply as existing, not as cause.
Oh, and people came away going, oh, Apollo Legends had terrible health issues. That must have been a big contributing factor. Or did they walk away going, oh, well, clearly Billy Mitchell's actions had a big impact on this, and I'm going to leave an angry comment saying that Billy Mitchell was a terrible person for this.
Factors. I never stated that Mitchell's lawsuit caused or could have caused Apollo's death. Any connection someone might draw between the lawsuit and Apollo's passing goes beyond what I actually said. I was extremely careful, though obviously not careful enough, not to make that claim, because I know the difference between describing a sequence of events and assigning blame for a tragedy. I did, however, get one statement of fact wrong, and trust me, I learned that lesson immediately. Ever since this very video back in 2021, and because of the resulting lawsuit, I have always endeavored to be much more careful about what I say. And if I do say something factual, I always try to ensure that I have ample concrete evidence to support it. On the 4th of June 2021, I was contacted by Keemstar, who on a call advised me that Billy was very unhappy with the comment I made regarding the settlement, and that it was false. In response to this, I removed that section and advised Keemstar to tell Billy that I had removed it and that I would make a retraction if Apollo's brother or Billy provides evidence that the claim was false. I then...
Oh my god. You give me what I want in order to say... Dude. You did it on the baseless fucking thing as it is. Just say, I was wrong about that. What's the big deal? Oh my god. Like, you got yourself into this mess by overstating based on Reddit comments, and now you want hard proof that it didn't happen in order to make a retraction. What a deranged concept, bro. Yeah, Keem threw this guy a lifeline. Exactly. And he didn't take it. Oh my god, bro. Well, he did. He did his retraction. But obviously we know what happened there, don't we?
And sent Apollo's brother an email explaining the situation, and asked if he could confirm if my statement was incorrect. Several hours after I removed the statement from my video, Billy posted to his channel a response video. In it, he stated that my claim was wrong and that I was accusing him of murder.
May 26th, Jobs released a video downright loaded with false defamatory statements. The most heinous accusation related to Apollo's passing. In the video, Jobs outright states that I drove Apollo to suicide. In his words, he may as well have just said murder.
Several days later,
Yes, that is a completely reasonable framing of it, yes. Oh my god, dude. Is this in his timeline? Is this his timeline? So, Billy Pacman claims he will sue me for saying Apollo Legends paid him money. I removed that portion from my video, not because it is wrong, but because this isn't the issue I want to go to court over. I'd rather he sue me over his fake Donkey Kong scores. Okay, I see. Interesting. Interesting. Bro, this guy is just a rat. He's a total dishonest rat. Total dishonest, lying little rat. Desperately trying to cope with the fact that he was terribly wrong in this situation. He can't just be upfront. He can't just come out and say, yep, do you know what? I did get it wrong, and my conduct was unreasonable afterwards too, and I did do a bunch of dumb shit. And now there's this video where he's every step of the way coping. Can I see, has anyone got the script of what he said? Because I feel like he is massive. I want to double check his wording, because I'm like 90% sure that his wording made it pretty fucking obvious that he was saying, you know, Billy Mitchell pursued this sort of legal settlement that included a financial settlement that was a contributing factor to him topping himself.
received a concerns notice from Billy's lawyer. This is a legal document that you must send to someone before you sue them for defamation. It's the first step in the process. It needs to outline the words of which they complain, what they imply, and why they are false. I didn't take this seriously when I received it, because it wasn't the first concerns notice that Billy had ever sent me. A year earlier, Billy had sent me a concerns notice after I called him a cheater in a video about Guinness World Records. This was just after they reinstated his fake world records. The concerns notice was ridiculous, as obviously Billy is a proven cheater and everyone knows this, and it falsely claimed that I implied he was a criminal because I suggested that he may have paid Guinness.
Read the donation comments on Karl's video. Billy Mitchel accused me of fraud during Insane Rant. They're very interesting. Where can I see that? On the video.
To reinstate his scores, even though paying Guinness to adjudicate world records is literally their business model. And during this time, Billy was suing multiple entities for telling the truth that he is a cheater. So there was no reason for me to believe that his second concerns notice regarding Apollo Legend was any more trustworthy. And I assumed it was completely bogus and an attempt to silence me, just like all of his other actions.
Wait, what? But by this point, hadn't you been told that the Apollo Legend stuff was wrong? Now I'm very confused. I thought by this stage you already knew that the Apollo Legend stuff was wrong. So how could you possibly think that that was bogus when you knew that there was a question mark over the claim that you'd made at the very least, if not it was outright incorrect? I can't see how you could look at that and think, well, that's probably bogus as well. You would look at the cheating thing and think, well, I've got good grounds there. But, oh, what's this thing about Apollo Legends? Oh, this is what was said. Oh, well, yeah, that is reasonable. I did get that wrong, so I need to correct the record there. He got a notice prior, then after Apollo he got a second one.
He may have paid this. Billy had, because it wasn't a legal document that you must send to someone.
Bro, okay. I thought this was what it was going to be. So he's creating this story that there's this tremendous confusion because of all this legal stuff that's happening, right? And I think the confusion is part of the point here. It's trying to make it seem like this is very confusing, and of course he didn't know what was going on because of all this shit that was happening. But then it's up to you to discern that and accurately relay that to your audience. At best, you're incompetent. At worst, you're malicious. Right? Like, what other alternative is there?
before a concerns notice from Billy's lawyer. This is a legal document that you must send to someone before you sue them for defamation. It's the first step in the process. It
Here's the original clip.
also sued YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 million. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell. He was forced to remove all of his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt, which required him to find extra work.
Paid him a large sum of money? Dude, he's so dishonest about that.
Of money. To remove all of his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt, which
This left him deeply in debt. What a little weasel he is, man. He's trying to weasel out of this by being like, oh no, I just explained a series of events. No, you are saying here that the cause of his financial issues is this settlement. Very clearly to me.
required him to find extra work. But with his ongoing health issues, this was all too much of a burden, and he ultimately took his own life. Not that Billy Mitchell would ever care though. In fact, when Billy Mitchell thought Apollo died earlier, he expressed joy at the thought. The lawsuit against Apollo was
I didn't
just
get a chance to finish
as
reading that.
Right, and now it's just, I just explained a series of events, guys. And anyone that thought that I was saying that Billy was responsible for Apollo Legend's death, that's up to you at the end of the day. He's not wrong though. No, he is. He is 100% wrong. He is totally fucking wrong in what he said there. There was no financial settlement to lead to financial pressure that led to him topping himself. There was no financial settlement that put pressure on him because the financial settlement never fucking existed. Rough. Not good. Not good. This is a pretty bad response so far. Pretty bad. Let's continue. Maybe it's going to get better as we go on.
Okay, that's
It needs to
wonderful.
outline.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Karl lied, wow.
Yes, he did lie indeed. And also, let's do the super chat goal. Sorry, I forgot. I forgot about the super chats, ladies and gentlemen. Super chats. Here we go. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
The words of which they complain, what they imply, and why they are false. I didn't take this seriously when I received it, because it wasn't the first concerns notice that Billy had ever sent me. A year earlier, Billy had sent me a concerns notice after I called him a cheater in a video about Guinness World Records. This was just after they reinstated his fake world records.
No. You're confusing the time. Whoever said that earlier is giving me time. The first concerns notice he got was about the cheating. And then this further concerns notice was specifically about Apollo Legend, right? So the timeline is, he gets one about the cheating, he then gets one about Apollo Legend, he then goes, oh, well, you know, the other one was about the cheating, this is probably bogus as well, right? That's, I think, what happened here.
The concerns notice was ridiculous, as obviously Billy is a proven cheater and everyone knows this, and it falsely claimed that I implied he was a criminal because I suggested that he may have paid Guinness to reinstate his scores, even though paying Guinness to adjudicate world records is literally their business model. And during this time, Billy was suing multiple entities for telling the truth that he is a cheater. So there was no reason for me to believe that his second concerns notice regarding Apollo Legend was any more trustworthy. And I assumed it was completely bogus and an attempt to silence me, just like all of his other actions. A couple of days after I
How is that related, though? How is that related in any way? That's not a connection there. Legit question, no jokes. Why is Karl so obsessed with Billy? Karl's brain was broken by Billy. Same way Heartbreak is. Well, the first and most prominent thing here is incentives. Okay? Karl is massively incentivized to make videos that bring in lots of views. And making videos shitting on Billy Mitchell was bringing in lots of views for him. Okay? So there's a big incentive there. Also, there's some sort of egotistical aspect to it, where if you're going at someone and you're getting, you know, unquestioning support from the broad spectrum of the internet, then that is going to push you on to continue further because you're going to like that, right?
Off depressed people.
No extra lives or power-ups this time, Karl.
Thank you for the £3. Appreciate it. And yeah, exactly. There's going to be people in the community that are going to love this. Going to be like, yeah, go on, Karl. Let's go. You know? So I think it's the incentives to make it, plus the ego boost that you get from going at like a target that's easy like this. Okay? I think those things are what are contributing primarily to his desire to make videos about Billy Mitchell. And it led to this mind state, I think, where, like, as the judge said, he thought he was going to be the person to slay Billy Mitchell. And that was hubris.
Received Billy's concerns notice regarding Apollo Legend, I re-edited my video to add back in my claims regarding the settlement. Again, I believed them to be true, and my efforts to avoid legal action by taking them down had failed. In the pinned comment of Billy's response video, he even said that removing the words or making a retraction would make no difference. Several days after I reinstated words or making...
Right. Update. Karl Jobst removed the allegations from his video. A reliable third party confirmed the illegitimacy of his allegations directly to him. I'm currently unaware of any official retraction, however. Either way, that simply will not do. Jobst fabricates a baseless story with fictitious events to pin a suicide on me, but he seemingly thinks that a simple removal reconciles his conduct. Absolutely not. The damage has been done. Over 600,000 people saw that video before he removed the claims. He pins a suicide on me in front of hundreds of thousands of people, makes thousands of dollars on ad and sponsor revenue, and drives a GoFundMe to 50k with the emotions that he drew from those claims. In exchange, I receive tons of hate on social media calling me a murderer, saying that I killed Apollo Legend and that I have blood on my hands. No thank you, Karl. I mean, assuming if he's willing to be reasonable and like come to some conclusion here of like a retraction or something like that, I don't know. I feel like that would be fine. It's like, what does he mean by that? Well, what does he want at this stage? Like, what is he looking for at this stage, I guess? Overall, I agree with this point. Okay, I just think that, you know, is he thinking at this stage, I'm going to file a lawsuit no matter what? Or is there some remedy that can be agreed that would be fair to both parties that allow everyone to move forward, you know? So yeah, but other than that a little concern, I'm a bit like, yeah, he's right. he is correct about this, that like just removing it is not really reasonable, you know? And yeah, like, I don't know, man. It's just so, yeah. Anyway.
A retraction would make no difference. Several days after I reinstated my claim, I received an email reply from Apollo Legend's brother. He confirmed that originally, Billy had tried to get money from Apollo, but this greatly upset Apollo because he simply had no money to give. And ultimately, they adjusted the settlement, and in the final version, there was no money transfer.
Hi, Karl. Sorry for not catching this email sooner. It's been a busy week. Unfortunately, Ben really didn't talk about the lawsuit with Billy much, so I had to look through his files to find information on it, since I was curious as well. From what I could tell by reading the settlement dismissal agreement and chats on Discord, there was not any money transferred. Ben really didn't have any money to give, even if Billy had strong-armed him into that situation. At one point, they did try to get him to pay legal fees, which Ben was very upset about. He made it clear that he would not be sending Billy any money. They adjusted the settlement and he owed them nothing. It seemed Billy was mostly looking for justice to be done and that his reputation and image be restored and the negative videos taken down. Okay.
but this greatly upset Apollo because he simply had no money to give. And ultimately, they adjusted the settlement, and in the final version, there was no money transferred. As soon as I received this email, I removed my claim from my video, and it has been gone ever since. After I removed the claim from my video, we responded to Billy's lawyers advising them that the segment was removed and that I would be issuing a retraction.
Retraction. Notwithstanding the opposition, our clients now have received further information which verifies that no monies were paid to your client pursuant to any settlement reached with Mr. Smith. That being the case, our client has taken steps to remove certain statements from the publication and will make a retraction at a date in the near future. Should your client commence proceedings, our client's retractions will be relied upon for the purposes of Section 38 of the Act. Okay. The retraction... I've heard people talk about this bit. The retraction that was buried at the end of an unrelated video. Is that right? Is that what? I had no reference to Billy Mitchell in it in any way. Is that the retraction we're talking about?
Billy said this was not sufficient, and in the response from Billy's lawyer, they stated that proceedings were necessary. Despite this, I still planned on releasing a retraction, and in my video, The Greatest Feat in Video Game History, I included this segment at the end. Now, before I finish the video, I would like to take this opportunity to correct something that I said.
Whoa, hang on a minute. Okay, this is a little bit cheeky, isn't it? That isn't what it looked like in the original video, is it? Let's be real about this for a second, okay? I think we need a little bit more, you know, just give a couple more seconds, I think. Just to let people know the actual footage as it originally appeared. Okay? This is what it looked like, you know, in the original video.
Hello,
okay,
you absolute...
Let's be honest for a second, okay? So here's what it looked like originally. So this is the actual video. And the last segment of the video, okay, is timestamped. And it's the Lord of Cinder Fallen. And that is the final timestamp. You can't see because of my camera, but that's the final timestamp point of the video. And this is what it looks like. Okay. Bit quiet for some reason. It's supposed to be like that, is it? Am I missing something?
Every
There we go. Come on.
Every single time I watch it. Dino managed to beat Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3 back to back without being hit a single time and without increasing his character a single level. Truly one of the greatest achievements in video game history.
Okay.
The question now is, will this ever be taken further? And if so, who will be the one to do it? Elden Ring, the next FromSoft game, is set to come out in 2022, and not only will there be a race to be the first to complete it without being hit, but eyes are also on the grand prize of a 7-game back-to-back hitless run. One thing is for sure, it doesn't look like the madness will end anytime soon. And considering how far Dark Souls players have pushed the games in the last 5 years, I know that whatever happens will probably blow my mind.
Okay. Fade to black.
Now, before I finish...
Fade to black on the other topic, and then you fade into this. What do you think could possibly happen? Especially when you're fading to black in the final segment of the video. What do you think might happen at that point,
hitless
guys?
Run. One thing is for sure, it doesn't look like the madness will end anytime soon. And considering how far Dark Souls players have pushed the games in the last 5 years, I know that whatever happens will probably blow my mind.
Okay, that was an interesting video. Anyway, I guess that's done. It's probably just Patreon shit at the end, isn't it? Okay, there we go. All right? Bro, people are going to click off your video. Why did you do the fade to black? Why did you not explicitly timestamp it? Why is it buried at the end of this video? People are going to assume that you're just doing your fucking, you know, final bits, Patreon shout-out, stuff like that, you know? You can literally see it on the graph. Now, presumably, there's probably an increase here because of what's happened recently. But if you actually look here, right? Look at the heat map. If you look here, like, this is the most played part of the video, and then this kind of drops off at the end here. And I think this has probably been boosted by recent drama as well. I'd love to see what the stats are on, like, how many people viewed this particular segment originally. Obviously impossible now. But yeah, okay. Anyway, so that isn't, like, the end of the world dishonesty, but there's definitely an element of playing silly buggers here, right? It wasn't just, oh, here's what it was. You had an entirely unrelated video, you faded to black, which is normally an instinctive thing that people will click off of, and then you came back in with the retraction. Let's continue.
Now, before I finish the video, I would like to take this opportunity to correct something that I said in a previous video. Back in May, I talked about the new lawsuits filed by Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchel. In that video, I made the claim that Apollo Legend paid money to Billy Mitchel as part of their settlement. I would never make such a claim unless I had very good evidence to support my position. In response to this, Billy Mitchel released a video accusing me of lying and claimed that no money was exchanged. He didn't provide any evidence to back up this claim, nor did he attempt to get in contact with me to clear up any misinformation I may have had. However, I did investigate further, as I would never want to provide false
Also, that part isn't true either. Billy Mitchel did try to reach out via Keemstar, right?
information to my viewers. I reached out to a member of Apollo's family who graciously agreed to clarify some details. According to them, despite Mitchell's best efforts, Apollo Legend would not pay any money, and in the final version
and
of
also, yeah, obviously we've already gone over it, but the evidence point is ridiculous as well, of course.
settlement, there was no clause indicating that he was required to do so. Therefore, the statement I made in that video was almost certainly incorrect. I sincerely apologize for providing false information, and no matter what kind of relationship I have with Mitchell, I do not believe that it is ever justified to lie or mislead. Mitchell also claimed that I was accusing him of murder. This is certainly not the case. I do have my opinion regarding the impact of the settlement on Apollo's decision, but ultimately, it was no one's responsibility but his own. The only reason I mentioned it in that video was because I felt like it was important to let you know what happened, as I know many of you enjoyed his videos. My standard of evidence has changed dramatically since I made this.
Okay, I mean, it was quite a weak retraction. You did make some effort to make a retraction, but it was buried at the end of the video, wasn't timestamped specifically. You had a fade out effect so that that could have instigated people to click off of it and not even hear the retraction. And yeah, you kind of just were more so, you were more so like apologizing to your audience and everyone else. And you also suggested that maybe you still thought that. But anyway, terrible retraction. Let's continue.
Original claim, so of course now I disagree with my statement that I had very good evidence. But I was just trying to say that I didn't just make this up out of nowhere, and I didn't consider Billy's legal threat against me as him trying to get in contact with me, which is why I said that he didn't. After I released my retraction, my lawyers contacted Billy's lawyer to let them know, though we never heard back. I've heard a lot of people say that I never made a retraction, or never attempted to correct the record, or was trying to hide my retraction, and that if only I had just made a retraction, this entire thing would have been avoided. But that's just not the case. I wanted the retraction to get as many views as possible. I even said as much to my lawyers at the time. And ultimately, it did.
What?
My retraction got far more views than the original video. But
Okay, there's this guy now how YouTube works. What is he on about? Yeah, the video got loads of views because people are tuning in for this video here. Not for the retraction. And it's not, like, can you demonstrate that they even saw the fucking retraction? What was that fucking...
ultimately,
this is ridiculous.
It did. My retraction got far more...
What is this guy on about, dude?
I wanted the retraction...
I wanted to get loads of views, so I stuffed it in at the end of an unrelated video, and I'm now using the views on that video to back up the idea that it got loads of views, even though that's not meaningfully evidenced here. This is just bullshit. He's a total bullshit artist. This guy's a total fucking bullshit artist, is he not? This is fucking ridiculous. What is he on about? This is complete... Dude, Even if you're not a YouTuber, you can understand the absurdity of this claim that you stuffed it in at the end of an unrelated video in the hopes that it would get loads of views.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
He's fooling his audience. I've said before about this. This is a situation where big YouTubers got a massive fan base. If you can placate your fans enough, then it moves forward, right? Like, yeah, you could apply this to any concept. Like, the tail end of my streams tend to be quite a lot quieter than the middle portion, or the middle third of my stream tends to be the busiest. And if I did have an intention to smuggle something away, I'd put it right at the end of the stream or something like that, or at the end of another video. That is the place that you bury the trash, you know? So this is just ridiculous on the face of it, that you wanted lots of views on it, so you stuffed it in an unrelated video without timestamping it right at the end of the video after you'd faded to black. Anyway, what does this say? Hi, thanks for that. I'm taking an extra couple of days for the video containing the retraction to ensure its quality. I'm hoping that the video with the retraction gets significantly more views than the original video, which I believe will be a large factor. If the retraction is seen significantly more than the original claim, do you believe this has a big impact? I'm of the opinion that striving for more views is more important than rushing out the video, especially as we already made it clear in our response a retraction would be posted. I just don't... The other thing I don't grasp about this as well, what about the legal team? Why didn't the legal team say to him, nah, this isn't going to fly. You need to make it front and center and make it very clear what's going on. Why did they allow this? This seems like disastrous for your argumentation and your case. Anyway,
to get as many views as possible. I even said as much to my lawyers at the time, and ultimately it did. My retraction got far more views than the original video, but it was clear from Billy even before I made the retraction that it wasn't going to affect his actions in any way. Then in September 2021, Billy filed his lawsuit against me. Those are the events that led up to the lawsuit.
Wait, I don't know if I agree with that.
Lawyers at the time, and ultimately it did. My retraction got far more views than the original video, but it was clear from Billy even before I made the retraction that it wasn't going to affect his actions in any way. Then
that's not correct. That's not true. Billy wasn't saying that it doesn't matter if you do a retraction, I'm still going to go ahead with my action. He was saying that the current thing that you'd done was not adequate. And clearly he thought the retraction wasn't adequate either. It's not, and that's what I was saying earlier. Is he talking about filing a lawsuit no matter what? I mean, I don't know. But to me, it seems fairly reasonable that maybe he was seeking out another, alternative solution to this. Yeah, he didn't want to make a video saying I was wrong and Billy was right. It's just fucking... Yeah, but then he comes with all these ridiculous arguments, just absurd concepts. I wanted lots of people to see it, so I stuffed it in at the end of an unrelated video. It's just obviously ridiculous. Anyone, regardless of whether or not you're a YouTuber, can see how absurd that is.
And in September 2021, Billy filed his lawsuit against me. Those are the events that led up to the lawsuit. But if the lawsuit was apparently just about my claim about the Apollo Legends settlement, then why did many people believe that it was about allegations of cheating? There are multiple reasons, and yes, I am one of them, but it wasn't just my YouTube audience who thought that. It was even news outlets. In fact, they were playing segments on national news about how Billy was suing me for cheating.
A bitter war of Donkey Kong has exploded, with controversy over a high score making it all the way to a Queensland courtroom. An American video game champion is suing a Brisbane YouTuber over cheating claims.
And they didn't think that because I told them or because they watch my videos. They ran that story because of the arguments that were being made during the lawsuit and the nature of the pleadings. In Australian defamation, you must look at the entire publication.
Yeah. I can definitely see how news stories misreported this. Fine. But then it's up to you to clarify. It's up to you to clarify. It's up to you. I mean, I don't know why the news did that way, but then you should be the one making it clear. You should be the one clarifying it. And I feel like he very much relied on the news outlets reporting it in the way that they did to help him, you know, smooth over the narrative about what was happening and to benefit himself. And now it's backfired. Now he's like, oh, they got it really wrong though, guys. They got it really wrong though, didn't they? Well, why are you only telling us this now? Why at the time were you not going, guys, let's not get too excited. It's not about cheating claims. Here's the, you know, baseline of what it's about. Here's the baseline. And you can do that without risking your own legal position, right? You can make it clear what the lawsuit is about without negatively detrimenting your legal position. Like, what is stopping you from making it clear what it's about? Like, I think you benefited from that because you wanted people to think it was about cheating because you knew you would get more support that way.
If I publish a video, Billy doesn't get to just extract a single paragraph and ignore everything else. In the video where I made those claims about the Apollo settlement, I also claimed that Billy was exposed for cheating. I claimed that he was banned for cheating. I said that he abuses the legal system to force people to acknowledge his video game scores. And I said that he expressed joy at the thought of Apollo Legend's death, because he did. I mean, I even showed in that same video text messages where Billy said he would try his hardest not to smile and giggle if Apollo Legend was actually dead. So as part of Australian defamation law, there is a concept known as contextual truth. And this was one of my defenses. My defense states that because I made those other claims, and this was one of my...
Okay, in Queensland, the contextual truth defense... That was the first time to use Super Chat. I didn't know the function. Well, here's to many more. Thank you for the Super Chat. I do appreciate it. Also, yeah, what is this that he's using here? Where is this from? This looks like one of those AI summaries, but anyway. In Queensland, the contextual truth defence is defamation law, as outlined in Section 26 of the Defamation Act, allows a defendant to argue that even if some defamatory imputations are untrue, the overall publication conveys other substantially true imputations that do not further harm the plaintiff's reputation. Essentially, if true statements overshadow the defamatory ones, the reputational harm is mitigated, making it unfair to pursue legal action solely based on untrue allegations. Right. I mean, this seems to me to be something that would protect you if you had like a small untrue statement that wasn't really that substantial and the other statements were of more concern or issue, right? That's my guesswork on this. I'm obviously not a fucking legal expert, okay? But my baseline guess on this would be if you had like 5 statements, one of them was a trivial claim that was untrue, and you had 4 substantive claims that were true, you don't want people to be able to target the trivial untrue claim to try and take you to court for defamation over the article when other things you're saying that are true. That's my guess. Could be wrong about that. But then in this situation, like, what is more of concern? The idea that he cheated or the idea that he was responsible for contributing to someone's suicide? So, yeah, this seems like a very foolish thing to pursue based on the meat of what is happening and what you're actually being taken to court for as a defamatory statement.
Defenses. My defense states that because I made those other claims that both hurt Billy's reputation and were true, Billy was harmed anyway, and the words he complained of didn't harm him any more than he otherwise would have been. And in response to these other claims...
Bro, you're a cheater versus you contributed to someone's suicide because of a financial settlement that never existed. That never happened, I mean. Okay. Okay. Like, this is the Reddit tier analysis that you're in, where you think that cheating claims are more severe and serious than about contributing to someone topping themselves. What? Never listen to Reddit. That's what I've learned from this.
claims, Billy denied them all. He denied that he was exposed for cheating. He denied that he was banned by Twin Galaxies. He denied that he abuses the legal system. And he denied that he expressed joy at the thought of Apollo Legends' death. And because he
Okay, that's
denied
wonderful.
those extra
But how do I
claims,
make
the
money
breadth
off depressed people.
The sky is blue. Grass is green. The sun is yellow. Your Rapido defense.
Thank you for the $5, Speed Racer.
of argument during the lawsuit expanded to include those as well. And the media evidently latched onto the cheating claims because Billy was denying those, and that was his main reputation. So on one hand, the reason Billy originally sued me was because of Apollo.
Well, hold on. Billy Mitchell repeatedly, when asked, made it very clear what this lawsuit was about. Made it very clear what the fucking lawsuit was about. I find this hard to swallow. Oh, well, it's what Billy Mitchell said repeatedly. This isn't actually about the video games. This is about the Apollo Legend claims.
Thought of Apollo Legends' death. And because he denied those extra claims, the breadth of argument during the lawsuit expanded to include those as well. And the media evidently latched onto the cheating claims because Billy was denying those, and that was his main reputation. So on one hand,
No, the reason the media lightly latched onto the cheating claims is that is the juicy story, isn't it? Oh my goodness, lawsuit over cheating claims. Wow, what a crazy situation, right? That is more interesting than YouTuber taken to court for claiming that another person contributed to YouTuber's death due to a financial legal settlement. Like, obviously, the going to court because of cheating allegations is juicier and more interesting. And it's an example of the press not really understanding and grasping a story and pushing it forward regardless and not doing their, good due diligence to check what the details of it were,
wonderful.
you know?
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Chud, the explanation was Google AI. I just got the same exact explanation of contextual truth.
Oh, really? Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the $10. Damn, okay. So it was a Google AI explanation. I mean, for the video, I guess fine, but it's a bit concerning if you're relying on that. I will type stuff into Google and it comes up with the AI and I'm like, okay, what's the link? What's perpetuating this information? You know? Charlie was also a contributing factor. He was a witness and made several videos about Karl and Billy, but even he didn't know the lawsuit was about Apollo and not cheating. Oh my god. Oh.
the reason Billy originally sued me was because of Apollo Legend, but on the other hand, because he doesn't get to just isolate that one paragraph and ignore everything else in the video, the cheating allegations, along with other more serious claims, became involved. And ultimately, the judge did agree that those other claims were made and that they were substantially true. Though
In summary, okay, dude. Well, guys, he did say, the judge did say he's a cheater. Bro, this is such cope, bro. This is a total cope video. Oh, guys, look at this. He did say he's a cheater, though. Look. See? In summary, I found the imputation that Mr. Mitchell had been publicly exposed as a cheater was made in the video and was substantially true. Mr. Mitchell was banned from submitting scores. Substantially true. Right, okay. Okay. Yeah. Damn. Jesus.
So in his opinion, they weren't more serious than the claim Billy was suing over, which I personally don't agree with. In my personal opinion, I think expressing joy over Apollo Legends' death is far worse than any implication that the eventual settlement of Billy's $1 million lawsuit against a young YouTuber who had major health issues and no money and who was just expressing the truth might have contributed in some way to his decision to end his life.
Oh my god, he's such a dishonest fucking wretch, bro. All this fucking prefacing here. Never in the original statement, by the way. Now it's maybe, possibly, might have contributed in a way, sort of, maybe. And also, like, there's also a bit of a confusion about the time frame of these messages about Apollo Legends having died. Apparently there's messages from 2018, but in any case, putting that to one side, I mean, bro, I guess I just disagree. I think that claiming that someone contributed to someone topping themselves is the most serious thing of all of those than anything else. It just is so disappointing that he's not taken the path of just going, hey, I fucked up, I was wrong, L taken, lesson learned, and moving forward. Instead, he's crafting all this cope to try and still win somehow out of this. Fucking hell, dude.
After Billy filed his lawsuit, I released a video in September 2021 titled I'm Being Sued and Cancelled, where I announced that I was officially being sued. In that video, I specifically state that I'm not going to talk about what the lawsuit was about. Normally, I'd give you a full breakdown of this kind of thing, but because this one involves me, I'm going to keep my cards a lot closer to my chest. What I will tell you is that I am being sued for defamation, and the amount of damages being sought is $450,000. I will definitely be giving you updates as we go, but I don't want to give out too many details or strategies before I use them in court. After this, I didn't talk about my lawsuit at all for over a year. And during this time, news outlets were posting articles about how Billy was suing me for cheating. Again, this wasn't because I said this. I wasn't even talking about my lawsuit at all. These articles...
Okay, you should have made it clear then. Why did you not correct the record on this? Why did you not say anything? It's so fucking annoying. It's so clear that he knew and he must have known and recognized that he was benefiting from the narrative being that it was about cheating. So he made no effort to correct the record, no effort to steer people in the right direction. But now it's blown up in his face. Now it's, oh, the press were totally wrong about this, guys. Why are we finding out this from you now for the first time? Why are you only saying this now? Why are we not on the fucking hilltops going, guys, don't get too excited, it's not actually about cheating? You could even say, I don't want to go into the detail of it exactly. Sure, but make it clear that it's not meaningfully in any way to do with the cheating claims. Oh my god, dude. Terrible. He must just operate on a different plane of psychological existence, thinking that this is like a good video. And also, yeah, another point as well. Did he include these news reporting in his own content without clarifying what it was? In fact, isn't there a video where it starts it off and it is literally just a news report talking about it? Is there a video I can check of this? I'm fairly certain that there's a video where it starts off and it's a news report saying, well, now a claim is going to court and it's about cheating, and there was no effort to correct that. So he's saying the press are talking about it and are getting it wrong, but then he's using that same press reporting in his videos talking about it without correcting it before. Yes, exactly. He didn't want to correct the record because he knew it would negatively impact him, but now it's blown up in his face. He wants to make sure that people know, oh, the news got it wrong though, guys. It was the video I reacted to last time. Okay. And what was that?
Being written because reporters were reading the court documents where these issues were being argued. And I wasn't going to go out of my way to draw attention away from the cheating allegations either. Part of my defense was that Billy, more than anything else, has...
What? Oh my god, I wasn't going to go out of my way. Well, then you misled people, you fucking retard.
A reputation as a cheater. And when you think about Billy Mitchell, people don't think about that one brief claim I made in a video in 2021 and...
Fuck me, dude. Karl Jobst put the part of cheating allegation news in one of his videos and he starts denying this day and pointing them to deceive someone. What the fuck? Thank you for the super chat.
Then retracted. They just associate him with cheating and abusing the legal system. The fact that so many people didn't even know about the Apollo Legends settlement claim is evident of that. Then in 2022, Billy sent me a third concerns notice because of a video I released in April regarding one of Billy's witnesses accusing him of extortion. And he followed that up with another lawsuit, of which he sent to my lawyers and told them he was going to file it against me. And then he sent me a fourth concerns notice notice, saying he intended to sue me because I put a 10-second AVGN meme in a video completely unrelated to Billy. Billy was now threatening me with 3 simultaneous lawsuits. The first one had already cost $200,000 in the first year alone. So if Billy filed the second and third lawsuits, there was no way I could afford to defend myself.
Okay, yeah, I thought this was going to be the case. Guys, he was threatening all these different lawsuits. My take on this is that until a lawsuit is filed, I don't think you can reasonably fundraise for it. I don't think you can fundraise off the threat of a lawsuit. I think it needs to be signed, sealed, delivered, and then it's legitimate to fundraise. And he's showing all these different things to try and create this energy of confusion. And I just don't think it's that confusing. Yes, Billy Mitchel is some litigious freak, okay? I'm sure he was threatening you with these various lawsuits.
Is extremely relevant to the lawsuit. Billy Mitchel...
Yes, look, this is the video. Look.
Hello, you absolute legends. As most of you know, back in 2021, Billy Mitchel, Video Game Player of the Century, sued me for defamation, claiming damages of $450,000.
He is showing in his video the article, the same article that he is now decrying as getting it wrong, but he was using it in his video to make point. Oh my god, dude, this is wretched behavior, man. That's disgusting. That is just wretched. Oh yeah, guys, they were really wrong, weren't they? Well, if they were that wrong, why were you using it in your video without fucking correcting the record, dude? Clearly because you were benefiting from the misconception of what it was about. Oh my god, dude. I wanted this to be a good video. I was hoping that old Karl would be, big enough to be able to admit fault and whatnot, but this is a disaster. Total fucking disaster. Yeah, and also, yeah, he does say that. He does say that Billy cheating at video games is extremely relevant. He does, to be fair, say about the Apollo Legends thing too, but also says about the cheating being extremely relevant. The cope now for which I believe is, well, it was relevant to my defense. Ugh.
I had Billy Mitchel, the guy who had already sued multiple people for exposing his cheating and who had already sued me once before, telling me he was going to sue me 2 more times. And the reasons were insane. They were obvious abuses of the legal system. I felt I had no choice but to create a GoFundMe, and I advertised it in a video called Billy Mitchel Has Gone Insane and I Need Your Help. In that video, I clearly explain what is happening and why I'm creating the GoFundMe. Every single word I said in that video was true, and all of this is explained in the video. I understand that this was several years ago, so I don't blame anyone for not remembering the video or why I created the GoFundMe, but it wasn't in response to the first lawsuit that ultimately went to trial. It was because of Billy's constant legal threats against me, most of them having nothing to do with Apollo Legend. This video got a lot of attention at the time.
Yeah, this just, yeah, I did kind of think this was what we might do, is create this energy that there's all this stuff flying about, and of course it was confusing, and, this is why I was fundraising for this. Well, even if I accept this at the time, I could accept saying I was panicked, I fucked up, I did a GoFundMe, and I didn't make it clear the exact nature of it, and that's on me. But it was due to fear of various litigation I was being threatened with. Sure. But he's trying to justify this GoFundMe. But it's like, well, you did mislead people here. You did mislead people here. You did, I feel this is some flavour of scam that's happened here. Because you were fundraised for a particular cause based on a certain lawsuit that never came to pass. And you then wrap those funds up in another lawsuit that isn't actually about the same defamatory claims. That, to me, feels like a scam. And I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask the people that gave money. But I would imagine that some of them probably feel the same way. Because, I think that people probably still would have supported you because they hate Billy Mitchel. But there's also, there's probably some people that probably might have been like, well, I didn't want to support this necessarily, It is scammy. It's scammy. Yes, exactly.
to trial. It was because of Billy's constant legal threats against me, most of them having nothing to do with the Polo legend. This video got a lot of attention at the time. Even Moist Critical made a video about it.
This is one of the most...
Moist Critical is a total retard who's shit at researching for videos. I can't believe you're using Moist Critical as an example, bro. Moist Critical has on at least one specific occasion I know about quite well, completely misrepresented and got a story wrong and fucked it up because he was so desperate to put it out and not looked into it properly. So why the fuck are you acting like I should be in any way convinced by the fact Moist Critical made about it? Moist Critical's a fucking retard, dude. Why would I care that but Moist Critical made a video about it? Moist Critical does no fucking research into any meaningful research into the shit he talks about a lot of the time. I mean, you know, I kind of like the, yeah, poop, fuck, bum, shithole, that's about it, see ya. Sure. Okay, but you shouldn't be referencing him as like a credible, meaningful piece of information on anything. He's just not.
Okay, that's
you know?
wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Thank you for the super chats. Hey, legends, donate to my appeal fund below. Yeah, this is just ridiculous, you know? Absolutely ridiculous. Moist Critical wakes up, half looks into a story that he's seen on Twitter, pumps out a fucking 10-minute video about it, and makes hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's what Moist Critical does, okay? Listen, if I was in his position, I'd probably be doing the same. But nonetheless, and to be fair, he's done some other shit as well. He's got his esports team, his comics and whatnot. But, you know, in terms of his content, you know, that's what he's doing. He's not meaningfully looking into things and investigating things and researching things. It is just like, hey, I saw this story and, damn, it looks like this thing happened and one side was kind of upset and the other side was also kind of upset. Anyway, poop, pop, front, shithole, that's about it, see ya. There's a Moist Critical video.
baffling reasons for a lawsuit I think I've probably ever heard in general. Now, as I understand it, the second lawsuit hasn't been fully filed yet. Right now, it is still in the letter of intent stage, where they are intending to sue Karl and have sent him the documents to indicate such, but it looks like it is going to be sent in the coming days.
And the GoFundMe raise...
Bro. Oh my god, dude. No way that this just appeared on my timeline. I do not fucking believe it, dude. How is Billy Mitchel so effortlessly winning at every turn here, man? Oh my god, dude. When you swing at the king, you better not miss. Ooh, that stings. That one stings a little bit, I must say. Oof. Ouch. Ouchies.
It's 150,000 Australian dollars immediately. If anyone came away from that video thinking that Billy was suing me for saying he cheated, it's because he had started the process for doing exactly that, on top of everything else. Ultimately, these extra actions never made it all the way to trial, but there was no way for me to know that at the time. And it was possibly even because of the success of the GoFundMe that Billy ended up backing down. People are now using the fact that Billy didn't go all the way through with his threats to say that the GoFundMe was a scam. But I was just responding to actions taken...
Well, wait, hang on a sec. Well, hang on. The scam part is not doing the GoFundMe in order to fundraise for a potential lawsuit, although I think a lawsuit should be filed before you do whatever. The scam part is then you unilaterally deciding to wrap that funding up into another lawsuit that you know, relates to different claims that are made and not making it clear. That's the part that's the scam. Because people have not necessarily agreed, and you have not made it clear and given them the option. So you're saying, right, you're supporting me because Billy Mitchel is threatening to sue me off the back of claiming he's a cheat. Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that absurd? Yes, it is. Take my money, take my money, take my money. Oh, that lawsuit isn't going ahead. So what I'm going to do instead is take that, and I'm going to use it to fund my defense for a lawsuit where Billy Mitchel is saying that I erroneously claimed that there was a financial settlement that financially destroyed Apollo Legend that led to him topping himself. Like, those are different things that you're claiming, different reasons you're defending yourself. And people may not be willing to support you on the one. People will be willing to support you in the cheating one, but maybe not the other. I think people would have done it anyway because they hate Billy Mitchel. But you still have to give people the choice. You still have to give people the option, and you still have to let people know what is happening, you know? And, you know, one thing I will say, I do think that he probably did think the lawsuit was going to go ahead. And I do think that he believed he was legitimately fundraising for this new lawsuit that was threatened. I can believe that. Okay? That's fine. But the scam part is wrapping it up into the other lawsuit without giving people the option or choice or even letting them know what the other lawsuit explicitly is about. That's the part that's the scam. And I think you obfuscated intentionally so that it wasn't made clear and the waters were muddy. That's my belief.
By Billy and protecting myself, and the money was used exactly for the purposes that I said it would be, which was to help cover legal fees. This narrative that this whole thing was only ever about Apollo Legend, which ironically is a narrative that started with Billy Mitchel, is completely false. And if that were the case, Billy would not have taken action against me on 4 separate occasions, with 3 of those having nothing to do with Apollo Legend. That is why I never thought this whole thing was actually about Apollo Legend. I had been threatened and was dealing with so many...
Wait. Is he saying that he didn't realise it was about Apollo Legend now? Am I understanding this correctly? Is he not clear that he didn't know? Wait, what? I had no clue, guys. What was going on? Come on, dude. No
way. If that
way.
were the case, Billy would not have taken action against me on 4 separate occasions.
I fucking said he would do this, man. Hey guys, look, oh my god, look at all these documents. Isn't it crazy? Crazy stuff going on. Yeah, I've got some sympathy with being concerned about this, but there was only ever 1 lawsuit filed, and it was about a specific claim, and now you're pointing to all this other stuff that was going on to try and act like, oh, it's so confusing, guys. Well, that's on you anyway. At best, you're completely incompetent to not be able to make it clear what's going on.
3 of those having nothing to do with Apollo Legend. That is why I never thought this whole thing was actually about Apollo Legend. I had been threatened and was dealing with so many actions from Billy that were related to cheating that from my perspective this Apollo Legend lawsuit was just Billy trying to capitalize on a mistake I made. But wrong or right, I was under the impression that Billy was suing me because they kept talking about his cheating and talking about him in a negative light in general. Otherwise, those other actions made...
Aren't there like depositions of Billy Mitchell at some stage, maybe in the Twin Galaxies case, where he says, wait, no, this is bullshit. He made a video. Billy Mitchell made a video where he made it clear. Billy Mitchell did a video where he said, this is why I'm suing. You've got the documents. You've got the knowledge. This is on you. How can you be like, oh, but I was threatened with a bunch of stuff? Yeah, but you still inevitably knew what lawsuit was actually going ahead and what the grounds for that was. Oh my god, dude. This just feels so slimy and dishonest, this whole video.
No sense whatsoever. It was clear to me that his goal was just to silence me, especially when it came to the Apollo Legend claim, as I had already removed the words and made a retraction. The only other time I mentioned the GoFundMe was at the end of a video I released in August of 2023, where, ironically, I was responding to Billy saying that my GoFundMe was a scam. However, in this video, I allow Billy to fully explain why he is suing me, and I even say myself that the lawsuit relates to Apollo Legend.
Okay, but time went on, and eventually, without a single source, except a now deleted post on Reddit, now deleted post, was his only source where he blamed me for taking the life of another human being and for what I did to him. And I said, that's it.
Billy Mitchel is referring to the YouTuber Apollo Legend, who tragically took his own life in December of 2020. I won't go into specifics about this particular point because it does relate to his ongoing lawsuit against me.
I won't go into the specific point, but cheating. I mean, just feels so dishonest, wretched.
Of course, I do pick apart a lot of Billy's lies, and I deny that I actually said Billy took Apollo Legend's life, because I didn't, but I wasn't trying to hide the fact that the lawsuit was related to Apollo Legend.
Okay. So this is a disingenuous playing with words. I wasn't trying to hide the fact. Well, you could say that you're not trying to hide the fact, but you certainly didn't make it explicitly clear, and at various points you obfuscated and muddied the water to, I believe, your benefit. You know, it's like some vague gesture towards, oh, it's about Apollo Legends, guys. I'm not hiding it. Yeah, but, you know, the entirety of your content, okay, is not focused on making it clear, is it? Putting a retraction at the end of an unrelated video, dude. Oh my god. Oh. I wanted this to be good. I wanted this to be an, you know, I thought, you know what?
Okay, that's wonderful.
Maybe Carl's going to take the L.
Money off depressed people.
Billy Gods, I kneel.
Thank you for the super chats. Maybe he's going to take the L because he goes so hard at other people, but he's just not capable of doing it. And all of this, so little of it has been about his own mistakes and issues, and it's about everything else and everyone else getting it wrong. There's barely anything of his own wrongdoing. It's fucking wild, dude.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have even made this video or say directly that it was. And of course, I do also say that the allegations of cheating are relevant, because they were being argued as well. After I promoted the GoFundMe in this video, it quickly reached $200,000, at which time I closed it and stopped accepting donations, which was almost a year before we went to trial. So throughout 2024, as I began talking about the trial more and more, the GoFundMe was already closed, and I wasn't accepting money from the public. I have seen people point to the description of the GoFundMe and say that it didn't provide enough information or exact details about what the lawsuits and threats were about, and in that regard,
So, he's going to take an L here.
I totally understand if people think that was bad practice or an issue. I can only apologize and say that I didn't give the description much thought. As I said, I only mentioned or linked to the GoFundMe in 2
Bro, okay. I could even accept this. You're under legal pressure. You don't know what the fuck's going on. You're getting sued for this new thing which is about cheating, whatever. What about the fact that once that lawsuit didn't go ahead, you made a decision to wrap it up in a pre-existing lawsuit that was about another defamatory claim? Right? Oh, this is so irritating, dude. Well, he kind of, he was, yeah, well, if you feel that way about it, you know, I can see that. It's not even really taking an L, is it?
videos outlining things in much more detail, which I assumed people had already watched. Though if I knew the description should have included everything, I would have absolutely no problem doing just that. The fact that so many people got upset or felt misled after the judge's decision and I lost the lawsuit came as a huge shock to me. There was a lot of reporting being done around the time of the trial, and no backlash occurred then, when it was also very clear what the trial was about. And I've had many people tell me they always knew exactly what the lawsuit was about and they don't feel misled.
Oh my god, dude. He's picked the one comment. I saw this live on Twitter. So the people who are saying he felt misled, did you follow the trial at all? He never claimed it was about Billy cheating in video games. It was always about the Apollo Legends stuff. Even this person, he never claimed it was about Billy cheating. It was always about. Very deceptive there. Because in the first part, he's talking about what Karl did and didn't claim it was about. And then he switches it to, well, it was about this. Easy bedfellows. Dishonest. I still think the judgment was awful and Karl shouldn't have lost, but no one misled you. Well, great. There's, tons of people that did feel fucking misled. There's like 5% of people that are hyper locked in, but there's plenty of people that relied on your commentary because of your reputation and felt misled because they feel like you pulled the wool over their eyes.
So it would be very easy for me just to claim that people are only upset because I lost and Billy won, which is not the outcome everyone wanted. But I don't think that's entirely true either. I never said that Billy Mitchel sued me for cheating, but I also did not repeat or draw attention to the original claim that got me in trouble. Nor did I constantly remind people that the lawsuit related to a polo legend. Not because I was trying to scam anybody or mislead people, but because I believed it would have been detrimental to my case. I was...
On what basis? You didn't even fucking listen to your lawyers, apparently. Cheating, 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 cheating. By the way, the lawsuit's about Apollo Legends. Cheating, 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 cheating. It's total... Yeah, Shamu. It's total utter crap that this guy's trying to fucking feed to you.
Very happy to talk publicly about Billy threatening to sue me for calling him a cheater, and go into detail about how much of a cheater he is, because all of that is true. Despite the fact that he had threatened me multiple times for calling him a cheater, I was not afraid to continue making that claim. And I was happy to discuss his cheating even when it related to my currently ongoing lawsuit, because it was one of my defenses. When it came to Apollo Legend, this was a different story. I made a claim that included information that was not true. I didn't accuse Billy of murdering Apollo or causing his death, so I don't think I should have lost the lawsuit, but at the end of the day, I said
Bro.
included information that was not true. I didn't accuse Billy of murdering Apollo or causing his death.
So you can argue the toss about that and the interpretation of the words, okay? Put that to one side for a second. Well, that's not why you lost the suit. You lost the suit because you made a specific claim that a financial settlement that didn't happen led to financial pressure that contributed to Apollo Legend topping himself. That is why you got fucked so hard, okay? I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know the answer to this, but I would wager that if you were to give an opinion, you know, I think the pressure of this could well have contributed to Apollo Legend's situation. Soften it a bit, something like that. I don't know. You'd probably be okay with that. But I would not 100%, obviously I don't know for sure. It's the fact that you explicitly said about the financial statement contributing when the financial settlement never happened. That is the issue here. And he's completely avoiding that by being like, well, I shouldn't have lost because I didn't say this, which is arguable as well. But that's, you know, put that to one side. It's because you made a specific claim about something that was just factually incorrect and wrong. And then your efforts afterwards to retract it were completely, not enough.
So I don't think I should have lost the lawsuit, but at the end of the day, I said something that was not accurate, which I admitted to and corrected years ago. And I was never going to...
There are some Reddit comments that I've seen that suggest there could have been a financial settlement that may have contributed to Apollo Legends' bad circumstances. Obviously, it's a Reddit comment. Take from it what you will. I'm not saying this is correct, but it is out there. The rumor is out there. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying that? But no, you obviously wanted to get the boot in, so you made it as strong as you could, even though there wasn't good evidence to do so. Oh, dude, rough video. Rough video. We'll look at the comments after, and then I've got a little Karl Jobst treat lined up as well.
To repeat it because the internet doesn't work like we want it to work. If I drew more attention to Billy's claims about what I said, more people would have repeated it and it would have been used against me in court. For example, Billy's team crawled through thousands and thousands of comments on Too Moist critical videos about Billy Mitchel, which were released years after my video. They found a handful of comments that related to Apollo Legend, and then without any causal link...
So I can see this. I can see this. I could see, like, you know, I can't say certain things, which is, but like, isn't that massively undermined by the fact that he repeatedly did things which undermined his case at every turn and didn't want to listen to lawyers, first of all, and secondly, could you not make it a lot more clear and say something like, people are saying it's about cheating. Cheating is a part of it, but the more important direct part of this is specific comments made in regards to Apollo Legend. That is actually what the lawsuit is about. Like, could you not keep it, like, non-specific? I don't like this idea that it's like, well, I couldn't have possibly said anything. I had to let people think that it was about cheating and I had no other choice. No, you could surely say a non-specific claim that makes it clear. Forget the cheating thing. It's about the Apollo Legend claim. That's what's more relevant. Or you could say, you know, I provided information below. Like, could you provide information about it? Could you provide your own information and say, I can't speak on what it is, but this is what the claim is about. The legal documentation is below, or something. Is there not something you could do? Or Billy had said what it was. Yeah. You could just outright say, here's what Billy is saying. This is what Billy is saying. This is what the fundamental disagreement is about in this lawsuit or something. You could post a statement of the claim. Right, yeah. Just feels like cope to be like, well, there's nothing I could have done, guys. You had to all think it was probably about cheating, and that's that.
Claimed that they were a direct result of my video, even though there was no mention of me or my channel, and we don't know who these people are or why they are making these comments. The judge ruled that I'm responsible. He said,
yes, because these statements are off the back of the claim that you made in your video. You are the originator of the broad understanding of the grapevine effect, I think they called it, that this was the case. No, is that not what happened here?
Essentially, it didn't seem to matter if people may have come to this conclusion independently, and it didn't seem to matter if there was no evidence linking their conclusion to my original video. The blame for every single comment was entirely placed upon me. The judge even flat.
Okay, I can see I can see that. There's a possibility. There is a possibility that people could have looked at the information and come to that conclusion themselves. So maybe not every statement and comment is related to that. But if it's a react video where Moist Critical is reacting to your video about it and people are making those comments, well then in that case, it's reasonable that you would be responsible for that. It depends on what the context of the video is, I guess. But yeah.
Flat out stated that no comments of this nature were ever made before my video. And not only is this one of the reasons the damages might have been so high, but it seemed to be used as proof that every comment was because of my original video. But I disagree with this statement, as there were plenty of comments well before my video ever came out saying that Billy was responsible. So you can see how dangerous even mentioning Apollo Legend would have been. That was my reasoning for not repeatedly bringing up Apollo Legend. Though evidently my behavior of talking about the lawsuit so many times without reminding people explicitly what it was about led to many people being confused. And if you're one of those people, I sincerely apologize. I just hope that you can consider that it was not done intentionally to mislead you or for nefarious purposes. I also made the mistake of...
See, it's like he's saying it's not to mislead you for nefarious purposes. Even if we're to accept that, there's still more fault that can be attributed to you in that I think at the very least were reliant on the confusion and made minimal efforts to clear that up because you knew that people were more supportive of you that way. So even if I accept that it's not as malicious as you're saying there's still a lot of fault on your part because you could have made it clear and you didn't. And you even used the articles you're now decrying in your content when talking about this.
Of reposting news articles covering my lawsuit, because all of the reporting that was done before the trial focused on the cheating allegation.
Bro, he's doing it again. This is the same article he used in his video before talking about it. What a dude.
And that wasn't the full story. As I said before, I had so many threats regarding
it wasn't the full story, but I included it in my video and didn't clarify that point.
The cheating allegations that I believed Billy's true motivations were to shut me up about the cheating videos. And the lawsuit did actually involve Billy denying those cheating allegations ever happened. However, I should have made it more clear that the lawsuit wasn't mainly about cheating. I just didn't know how to do that without jeopardizing my defense. And I also carelessly assumed most people already knew what the lawsuit was about anyway because I had said it in one of my videos.
Okay. Do you know who could help you with that? That's right. Your lawyers could help you craft a statement that would not open you up to legal liability. Maybe you could have considered that.
If I truly understood the impact my actions would later have on people, I would have been much more careful. Obviously, in hindsight, it may have been better to not talk about the lawsuit at all, but I'm not sure if that was ever going to happen. It's just not in my nature, and this was the biggest thing impacting my life and this channel for multiple years, so of course I felt compelled to talk about it. I should have just found a way to be more transparent if I were to discuss it, and I can understand fully if you are disappointed in my actions, especially if you donated to the GoFundMe. If you weren't really following the trial closely and don't have much information about what happened during it, and all you're currently reading is news about the judgment or drama videos saying that I lied about everything, I'd suggest remaining skeptical for the time being. I will wait until the...
I mean, I love the fact, dude, bro, this guy is such a little wretch. Drama videos after he's pumped out fucking 20 fucking plus videos about Billy Mitchell. Oh, don't listen to drama videos, guys. Well, we shouldn't listen to your drama videos talking about this fucking case, should we? Because you're a total moron.
dust settles before discussing what happened during trial in more detail, but at some point I definitely will, and hopefully at that point you will have a better understanding about why I was so confident I would win. And it's also possible that you might even agree that this judgment is simply crazy once you have all of the details.
Yeah, dude, Henry's on the money here, isn't he? 1. Build career on drama videos. 2. Get called out, then drama videos are bad. Yes, exactly.
I'll say one thing though. The
Classic.
judge found Billy Mitchell to be a credible witness, and essentially accepted his full oral testimony as fact, despite our many attempts to show that Billy is a liar. For example, we have Billy on video in 2023 during his Twin Galaxies deposition saying that the effect I've had on him is minimal.
Did the actions that Karl Jobst and David Race and Jeremy Young and Jeff Harris take also cause you emotional distress?
That is minimal compared to this.
Why?
Because this is where it all began.
However, during my trial, he claimed the exact opposite, and said that I basically ruined his life. And the judge completely disregarded his previous statements and accepted what he said at my trial at face value. And this is just one example of many times that this happened. And if you've watched any of my videos on Billy Mitchell in the past, especially those in regards to his deposition, you will start to realize that this judgment might not be based on truthful evidence. But again, I won't go into much detail until the...
Well, okay, okay, guys, let's relax a little bit, okay? Let's calm down a little bit here, okay? I think there's room for us to accept that Billy Mitchell is at, the very least, overstating the impact that it had on himself to get the boot into Karl, right? I mean, I don't think that Billy Mitchell is genuinely as harmed by this as has been, documented in this lawsuit. I don't believe that. So I will say I'm willing to grant my perspective that yes, there probably is, an excess in the financial side of this. He had evidence and affidavits that Karl couldn't disprove, so that's on Karl. Yeah, Karl bad. Dude. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying that one, I'm not arguing about we couldn't disprove this, right? It's that I think there's some truth to the idea that he is overstating how he is impacted by this. I'm not buying it off this clip. I just am thinking just broadly, I doubt that he is as harmed as he's claimed to be.
Very end. There are so many lies being spread right now that it's insane. I can totally understand people making fun of me because I lost, and because of how cocky I was, and I can understand if people are upset because I wasn't transparent enough and they had the wrong idea about the lawsuit. And I can appreciate people are angry because I lost. I made a ton of mistakes, and I am a great example of what not to do when you're being sued. And ultimately, no. I am the one that will also need to pay the biggest price. In certain areas, I'm just an idiot, and I have a habit of saying things that rub people the wrong way. Of course, if I could go back and do things differently, I would. But some other things people are saying about me are just crazy and appear to me to be completely in bad faith. Like people are spreading this screenshot long after the trial had finished and using it to try and claim that I used AI in my defense or as part of my strategy. When all this is me and some friends having some fun.
But Billy looks like he always
Ah,
has an truly
okay.
maximizing the evil high schooler hacker dude look. Wow.
Thank you for the super chat. I'm pretty sure when we threw this up, I think we were a bit skeptical, if I recall correctly. I think it would just seem too good to be true. You know, or there was some context that made it seem like it was more of a joke or something. But anyway.
Fun and seeing what AI would say. Many people are taking advantage of the worst experience of my life to go after me for things that are just outrageous. And it sucks because on one hand I want to defend myself, but on the other hand I totally agree that I made a lot of mistakes. I said things publicly I shouldn't have said that made me look bad. So I do deserve to be called out for those things. But other things are just flat out wrong or just complete lies. And if I spend too much time debunking lies, it will come across as if I think I bear no responsibility for what happened, which is not the case. So I won't. I'll just say that I hope reasonable people can understand that out of context screenshots may not be indicative of what is really going on or how I really feel. This experience has been extreme.
Damage is very high for feelings only. I'm surprised. Yeah. Well, I don't know, dude. I just think that it's a lot of money, isn't it? I honestly do hope that Karl is able to get the damages reduced on appeal. I genuinely hope that, you know, happens. I know we were all in the fucking Karl hating mood and fuck Karl and Billy Mitchel's base, but genuinely, that seems excessive. I hope that's reduced. But yeah, I mean, Karl is obviously, unquestionably, fucked up tremendously throughout this. So, you know. I hope it's increased. Oh my god, you guys are deranged. You guys are deranged.
Extremely painful. However, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's been a huge wake-up call, and there are many lessons for me to learn. So assuming I do adequate self-reflection and I grow from this, I think it will ultimately be good for this channel. I'm more motivated than ever to move on and focus on producing good content and keeping myself out of trouble. So if you never really cared about this Billy Mitchell stuff and just want to watch some entertaining YouTube videos on cheating and speedrunning, this will be great news for you.
I mean, I can't really hate on that. I mean, you know, I'm a big believer in moving forward and stuff. I hate the idea, save some extreme actions that people are forever on the scrap heap. So, sure. I guess my issue or concern is that this video doesn't really indicate that you've really learned from this. It just shows like you're doubling down and, you know, oh, well, you guys are confused because these news outlets. What the fuck do you want me to do? It just comes across as very passing the buck, not taking responsibility, you know? There's a couple of, you know, yeah. Yes, exactly. Oh my God, Stylo. Yes, Stylo. Every comment Stylo's made today has been correct and based. Great to see. The damages are obviously too high. No one knows Billy Mitchell, the guy who killed Apollo Legend. They know Billy Mitchell, the guy who cheated Donkey Kong.
Trippy
Yes,
became a member. Trippy celebrates 8 months of membership. Chud, happy Easter to you and your family.
Trippy, thank you very much for the membership. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's Good Friday today. How could I forget? Anyway, let's just wrap this up, and I got a little treat for you.
Thank you so much to everyone who has supported me for the past few years. I can assure you that you have made this process much easier than it would have been, not only for me, but for my family as well. And I'm truly sorry to everyone I let down by not handling this as well as I could have. Thanks for watching, you legends. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I do hope that I get to see you in the next video.
Okay. Well, there it is. What are the comments saying? Oh no. Karl Jobst is gonna have a field day with this. Oh, we're starting with I'm sorry you believe I misled you. Okay. I went back and rewatched all of Karl's videos about the lawsuit. In context, they all give the impression that the lawsuit was about cheating. The Apollo Legend connection was barely mentioned. You must understand why putting your retraction at the end of a 30-minute Dark Souls video makes it look like you're hiding it. You said something that could land you in massive hot water. You have to make sure it's clear to people that you've even made it. Yeah. Damn. I'm in crippling debt, you absolute legends. You know, Karl, there are a lot of ways I could say, but I think the best, most concise way to put this is, if this was someone else and this is the video they made, you'd be dunking on them for it. Yeah. This is true. I think this is a completely legitimate concept that he would be. You know he would be. The comments are not having it. I understand your explanation, but it would have taken like 5 minutes to upload a video saying the lawsuit wasn't about cheating allegations. Yeah. Ugh. I read some shit on the internet. I went to court over... Okay, dude. The way they downplay it is pretty wild. Okay, oh, this is what I wanted to show you as well. God, these people are pointing out the facts. The straight facts. Well, you know, I know some people are licking their lips at the thought of Karl's YouTube career getting destroyed. I'm not really like that about it. I don't feel that way about it. I think you guys are being a bit, you know, a bit harsh, to be honest with you.
Reporting on...
I just, you know, he has been dishonest. He has been very wretched in this, but I don't really care enough to be like, he needs to be destroyed. You know, I do hope he learns and grows from this. And stops being a fucking smug prick. But anyway.
A bitter war of Donkey Kong has exploded with controversy over a high score, making it all the way to a Queensland courtroom. An American video game champion is suing a Brisbane YouTuber over cheating claims.
And just to be... Hello, you absolute legends. Just to be clear, this lawsuit is not actually about cheating exactly.
Hello, you absolute legends. As many of you know, back in 2021, Con Artist of the Century Billy Mitchel sued me for defamation, claiming damages of almost $500,000. For almost 3 years, this ridiculous lawsuit has dragged on, and for the...
So it's in this video, and then he makes claims about the lawsuit.
He won. Con Artist of the Century Billy Mitchel sued me for defamation, claiming damages of...
And he says he's sued me for defamation, and he throws up a headline over cheating allegations, but doesn't clarify. Oh, dude, this guy's a total liar. This guy's full of shit, dude. Oh my God, dude. Total liar, man. Guys, it's the press that said this, you know, and then he's using that same press. Like, you know, I would wager that more people are seeing these articles off the back of his videos than the original outlet. Right? I don't know for sure, but I would presume that that fucking clip of a news channel was probably viewed by fewer people than this fucking video. Oh, very cringe. Very cringe. But gut, ladies and gentlemen, just giving you a little Karl Jobst themed palette cleanser. Okay. A little Karl Jobst palette cleanser for you to suckle on, okay?
Hey guys, it's Karl here. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a simple and easy approach you can do if you're looking to overcome your fear of approaching women.
What the fuck is this, dude? The ultimate guide for building confidence. Approach her now. Download for free at approachhernow.com.
Alright guys, now I'm going to show you a few approaches, and then afterwards I'm going to break down exactly what happened. Let's go. Hey, sorry, I don't want to bother you guys. I just want to say I think you are really, really cute.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good night.
Adorable, isn't she?
Yes, very adorable.
She's loves crust.
Hey guys.
He just walks off. I mean, I guess the point is build your confidence by approaching women, but like, you would want to get a bit further down the line, wouldn't you? You want to practice like your fucking chatter blinds and that a bit, not just walk away. Hey guys, you're cute. Anyway, see you later.
Okay,
and he walks off.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Don't do this, Chud. It's going to change how I look at this guy forever.
What is his response to all this? Has he accepted that he used to do this pickup artistry stuff, or is he a bit like sneaky about it? I don't actually know.
I don't mean to bother you. I just want to say I think you are really, really cute.
Thanks.
Have a good night. Hey guys. I don't mean to bother you. I'm just going to say that I think you're really, really cute.
Oh, thank you.
That's all right. Have a good night. Hey guys. Guys. Sorry to interrupt you guys.
Walk up to women. Say they're cute. Do not elaborate. Leave.
I don't want to bother you. I just want to say I thought you were really, really cute.
She
Just
is
want
the
to say
most
that.
beautiful person I've ever seen, so I
Agreed. Thank you. See you guys.
Thanks.
Hey, guys, don't want to bother you. Just want to say I think you are really, really cute.
Look at the way he's standing as well, mate. Just standing there, strong, like a tower. Absolutely drowning in minge.
Have a good night. Hey guys. Sorry, I don't want to bother you. Just want to say you are really, really sexy.
Sorry?
I just want to say you are really, really sexy. That's all right. Have a good night.
Also, the women. What? What the fuck? Why got his What? What? Huh? What is going on? Why are we on his crotch now?
Hey, excuse me, guys. Sorry to bother you. I just wanted to say I think you are really, really cute. Have a good night. That's all right.
What? They.
Hey, I think you are really, really cute. Have a good night. That's all right. Hey, guys.
Bro, they were like. They did like the fake smile shit. Oh my god. The awkward, scared laugh. I mean, you know. I do get the exercise. Just a woman approach. Get over your fucking issue with talking to women. But like, it's not even a good way of approaching women, even from a PUA perspective. You need something to get in that isn't just you look cute.
Money off depressed people.
The real confidence boost is posting this cringe and feeling no shame about it.
Yes. Why do it in public? Because he's trying to shill his course, isn't he? He's trying to shill his fucking PUA shit that he's presumably doing at this time. You look cute. That's about it. See ya.
Don't mean to bother you. Just want to say that I think she's really, really cute. That's all right. Have a good night. Hey, guys.
Someone tells me or thank you or I know I look good. ID probably 47% myself. That's code for your gross getaway.
Exactly. It's why you got to use negging. You're better off using negging, right? Go up to a woman and going, oh! Did someone open up a fish market round here? What's that smell? Oh, it's your disgusting gash. You just point right at it. It's your disgusting soaking gash. Oh, is that prawn? Oh, that's how you do it, okay? That is how you get women. You know? That's the trick. Oh, is there some leftover lobster around here or something? That's a disgusting fishy stench. Oh, it's your gaped pussy. Oh, look at it. Oh. That is how you do it.
Sorry to interrupt whatever you're doing there. I just wanted to say you are really, really cute. That's all right. Have a good night. That's all right. Have a good night. See ya. All right, so you just saw me do a few approaches. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened now. So let's break it down into 4 simple parts. Step number 1.
Okay.
Off depressed people.
Karl lost to Billy, Chud lost to Blobby.
I did,
it's
yes.
all a win for chat. Wow.
I did, you're right. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. I don't know if I need a breakdown here. I think I understand the basic mechanics here. I think we're good. But let's hear what he's got to say.
You're going to do something that's called an opening buffer. Now, this is something that basically makes the approach less intense initially. So, for example, you come up and say, hey guys, sorry, I don't mean to bother you, but. Or, hey guys, I don't mean to sound weird, but. So it basically makes the situation less intense for you and also for the woman as well.
Okay.
Now, step 2, you're going to give her the compliment.
By the way, saying, I don't mean to bother you, I would actually argue is a sign of a lacking confidence. Because if you're confident, why would you approaching them be bothering them? You're adding some sort of value or interest to them. So you should never feel that you're bothering them by approaching them. You know, you're actually benefiting them by approaching them. That should be your mindset if you're going to do this PUA shit, you know?
So personally, I like to say, hey, I think you're really cute, but you can really do whatever you want. It doesn't really make a difference either way. Just pick something though that, you know, is true. Don't lie and say something just for the hell of it. If you see something you like in a woman, just go up and say exactly what you think. Now,
okay, I mean, I don't know if that's the best idea with some of the shit I was coming up with. Not sure. Oh, your back's really fucking hairy. Why you got such a hairy back? What's that about? Are you trans? I love your massive fat tits. Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Trenchcoat Mafia latest member. Wow.
Thank you for the super chat. How's that gok hanging?
Step 3 is really important, but it's really subtle. So you're just going to say the compliment, and then you're going to observe her behavior for about 1 to 2 seconds. So you say the compliment, then you just look at her, do nothing for about 1 to 2 seconds, and basically take in her response and see what she does. Now, the last step is probably the most important, which is leave. So you
Now it's time for the most important step. It's time for you to leave. Dude, that is so good, man. Oh, man. Was this guy successful doing this? I guess not, because he did speedrunning videos instead.
You've said the compliment, you've observed her response, now you're just looking to get the hell out of there. No matter what happens, you're going to leave no matter what. So you can just say, hey guys, have a good night, or have a good day, I hope you, you know, enjoy yourself, whatever you want, and just leave. Now, there are a few important points I want to mention though. Number one, this is really a beginner's approach, so it's not meant for advanced people who really know what they're doing. This is simply for guys who just want to overcome their fear and they're having trouble getting stuff done. Second point is, I don't really prefer this environment, so I don't really think...
The thing is, okay, but then if you're a beginner, it's kind of like, you know, being...
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Is Karl special in the head?
Thank you for the $5. Yes, possibly. I think that if it's like being a beginner at swimming and getting in a paddling pool, right? You could probably go you could have a bit more depth than a fucking paddling pool when you're learning to swim for the first time, okay? You know, like you can go a bit deeper. You can fuck it up. Like use it as an opportunity to make mistakes and realize what doesn't work and stuff like that. And this PUA shit is all very, you know, considered and...
Okay, that's wonderful.
You know,
but how do I
don't like
make money off depressed people?
Hey, don't want to bother you, but I think how far you dangle past your skirt is really sexy.
Thank you, ChudLogic. Thank you. So to me, it's like, well, just give a bit more than that. Can you start a conversation? How does the conversation go? Something like that, you know? Not just, hey, you look nice, see ya. Like, you want to go a further step at least. Because yes, you want to increase your confidence. But why not just take it a step further if you open up a conversation and see what happens? That's going to be far more beneficial than just walking away.
I think it's a good idea to stop people when they're walking. I much prefer, you know, going to a club or a bar inside and talking to people when they're already stopped, so they're already sitting down, or they're just standing around, they're not really moving. I think that's a much better place to do it. The only reason I'm out here is because it's not so noisy, so you can hear what I'm saying. And the third point is, be consistent with it. So, you know, 10 to 20 per night, once or twice a week. And you might have to do that for, you know, a couple of months before you really start to notice the difference. But trust me, it is going to happen. What we're trying to do...
Damn girl, your Adam's apple is thick. How low that cock hang.
That's my go-to. Thank you very much for the super chat, yes.
...is decondition the brain for that fear response. So, you know, currently, whenever we think about approaching a woman, we get the fear. By doing this exercise, it's going to undo that conditioning. It's going to rewire the brain so that over time, whenever we think about approaching women, we're not going to be so anxious. Okay, guys, so let's recap. Step number 1, go in with a buffer. Step number 2, give her a compliment. Step number 3, observe how she responds. And step number 4, get out of there and leave. Pretty simple. Good luck, guys. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Let me know how this goes. And also, always remember the most important thing if you're looking to get over your approach anxiety. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be giving you a shitload of free good advice. Catch you later, guys.
Based. We love free good advice here, don't we?